for my custom streaming. Oh, well, here we go. All right, now it says that we're live streaming. I'm going to record this just on the off chance that everything goes wrong or haywire. Hello, Internet land. My name's Dave Moses, and you are here by accident or on purpose for the live stream of the Writers Hypnosis Lab or the Hypnosis Writers Lab live Q&A. Cue music. No, there's no music. Hi, I'm Dave Moses. I am a writer and hypnotist, and I live in Vancouver. And over the last 4 weeks, I have worked with 6 writers, 5 of whom are here today, to share their experiences of what it was like and what the effects of going through hypnosis for 4 weeks has had, the effects that it has had on their work or on their writing, good or ill, better or worse. And I'm going to take our time there to introduce everybody to y'all. First, and then everybody, as I go through, you just take a couple of minutes to say who you are, where you're from, and sort of like what your project was here. So I'm going to just begin with my, oh, wait, I'm just being told. It's not on yet. Oh, it's not on yet. Yeah. Well, we're gonna keep going anyway. If you'll just tell me what it's your name, what you're working on, and we'll begin. I'm just going to start with this screen here. Dave, let's start with you. Dave Stewart, please introduce yourself.
Well, I'm Dave Stewart, and I'm in Prince Edward Island. And I've known Dave for since the early 90s. And I wanted to write a screenplay. I've wanted to write this for years, perhaps past decade. And I decided through this process that the best way for me to get that going was to write it as a short story first. And that is my goal with this thing, with this hypnosis project. By day, I'm a copywriter at an advertising company. And that is all I'll say at this point.
Well, I'm also going to say you are also the author of a book of short stories called Monster Man. You are also an editor of a collection of short fiction called Fear from a Small Place, I believe it's called. So I appreciate everybody's very humble today, but you're a man of many accomplishments. Speaking of a man of many accomplishments, will you, Steve Ross, tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi all, my name's Steve Ross. I come to you live from Stratford, Ontario today. I am an actor here and have become a writer. I am fairly new to writing, I would say, 2 or 3 years. The pandemic has allowed me to really focus on the writing. The reason that and what Dave and I worked on through these 4 weeks, I am in the process of collaborating on a musical that I have fallen out of love with, and I am also trying to write something new that I would much prefer to be writing. So Dave referred to it as having to eat my vegetables so I can have my dessert, which was a very good way to look at it. But so I'm working on 2 pieces for the stage right now.
Excellent, and that's the technical term for it. So you know, we call it the vegetable dessert protocol. Jenna McMillan, tell us about yourself, please.
Hi, everybody. I am Jenna McMillan, and I'm in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. I am a freelance producer. I'm producing several projects right now in various stages, but I'm also a director and writer. I have been working with Dave on a screenplay that, like Dave Stewart, I've been putting off for years and has been an idea that I've really wanted to find time to write. And so over the past 4 weeks, kind of taking that project from the back burner and making it a front burner project.
That is also a technical name, the front protocol.
Front burner.
Teresa Lemieux, tell us about yourself, please.
I have to unmute myself to do that. Hi, I'm Teresa. I am a food blogger and food writer most of the time by daytime, and I have always wanted to write novels and more recently theater. And Dave has been helping me work on this one idea that I had now is an idea based on a historical person that I wanted to put into a young adult novel. And I thought I had developed a legit strategy since Dave and I spoke last to sort of turn that in a second project from that same source material into a stage play. But now I realize that, like Steve, I was just creating an out for myself, creating another distraction. But I still both projects I think are going to be great coming from the same source material. So Dave's been helping me to see the possibility there.
No, great. And then this just in, thumbs up from the internet. This is it. This is a thumbs up. This is the actual thumb up that Facebook based their thumb up on. You want to give us that thumbs up again? There we go. There it is. Thank you. Great work. Great work, thumbs. Finally, Jessica Holt. Jessica?
Hi, everyone. It's nice to finally meet everybody. As Dave said, I'm Jess. I'm here in New Brunswick, and I'm a screenwriter. So with this project or lab, whatever you want to call it, I was hoping to get my outline all done.
Great. Now that's very brief, Jessica. Anyways, Jessica is a writer of many accomplishments. You can look her up on her page, which we'll post somewhere here on the things below. All right, so we're just going to go through this. I don't know who this live Q&A is for, if it's for writers or hypnotists or people who are interested in both things or some things, but essentially when I started studying hypnotherapy, I didn't, the genesis of this project sort of began. I do a magic and mind reading show. I use hypnosis and suggestion in that show, but I always was curious about, well, could you do anything good with hypnosis besides, making people's hands stick together or something like that? And I didn't really feel that I was anyone to, talk to anybody about, changes that they needed to make, or as a life coach or anything like that. I'm not any paragon of virtue. However, Dave Stewart disagrees. However, I did feel that I knew a couple of things about writing, and I was interested for myself in using these hypnosis tools on myself to improve my writing. Which brings me to that question of, can hypnosis make you a better writer? And I thought it was important just at the beginning to sort of lay out what I mean by better. I think that there's some things that I knew that hypnosis could do, and some things that I was skeptical about whether hypnosis could do. And so I felt, for the purposes of this project, by better, I was going to mean a more productive, more committed, I'll even say more creative writer, but we can get into that discussion later. But essentially, someone who writes more. And I felt that that was something that hypnosis is kind of ideally suited for. And I'll also say, as a disclaimer at the beginning, I am not Mesmer. I am not even Ravine, the impossibilist. There might be, and I'm sure that there are greater hypnotists out there who could get different results from their clients, their coworkers, their subjects. I also think that there are writers out there who may not have the same results as the writers that we're going to be talking with today, just so that everybody knows that I'm not trying to present this as a, here's 5 simple steps in order to become, the next Stephen King or Alice Walker. All right, so with that in mind, I was interested in doing that. I put a call out on the internet and asked for, 5 writers who were willing to work with me for the next 4 weeks, committing an hour a week, and to see what would happen. And I was so lucky that these there were 6 of us, but the 5 we have today were able to show up, and every week we got together and had another session. We'll go into the details about that later, but first I'd like to go again through everybody and say, what was going through your mind when you decided that you thought that this might be an interesting idea, this might be a good idea? And we'll go in reverse order this time. So let's start with you, Jessica.
Oh, I don't know. Sometimes you just make a decision, like it just clicked with me. And I think I reached out within like 5 minutes or something of you posting it.
That's right. Yeah, you were the first on board.
I didn't even think twice. I just thought, yeah, that makes sense to me. I bet you it's going to be really beneficial. And I mean, we'll talk later, but I think it was. So,
Teresa, what convinced you?
It's the same thing. I saw it and there was an instant recognition. I mean, part of it was you. I knew you and thought, this man knows what he's talking about. So I'd experienced some of your hypnotism before and just felt like it had really surprised me in its efficacy. And then also I know that the creative ideas that I really want to bring forth are within me. And I somehow felt like the discipline lay outside me. I needed some outside support, which is crazy because it's not, but that's how it felt. So I was reaching for that.
Okay. Jenna?
Yeah, I would say it's similar. I'm not someone who signs up for things that I see on the internet. Very rarely, very rarely that happens. But there was just something about this it totally like clicked with me right away. I think I was looking for a very quick fix. I needed something to kickstart myself and just to dig back into my creative life. And I've been looking for it for a long time. And this just felt like, oh, I'll try this.
Great. And Steve, how about you?
Yeah, I would agree with everyone so far. It sort of immediately clicked with me. You're a swell fella, so I thought, oh, that sounds great. And it sort of, I had hit a bit of a wall with my writing, I would say 2-3 weeks prior to seeing the post. And so it very quickly went under the category of why not? And as Jessica says, I think had real benefits. Hypnosis is something that I had a very specific perception of, and this turned out to be nothing like I expected.
Oh. Interesting. Dave Stewart.
I'm the kind of person who likes practical uses for impractical things, if that makes sense. So I like seeing how something like hypnotism, which is sort of abstract in a way to me, could be used to help me. I mean, not quit smoking or lose 40 pounds, but to be creative. And a creative approach to a creative problem made sense to me. Plus, I know you and I trust you, and I trust you with your creative ability as well as your mesmerist abilities. So I would like to say, though, that I don't think that's required to do this with you.
That's interesting. Okay, well, that's thank you for that. And I really appreciated everybody. It was a very humbling experience going, oh, these people are going to trust me with this process of that. Because one of the things I was worried about was that creative people they're pretty jealous of their mind, of their creativity, of their creative process. And I think, and I imagine if it was me too, there would be a bit of a hesitation at the beginning to have somebody meddle around in there. I was I was anticipating that to be a problem, but everybody was like going, no, let's do it. And when I said, how about we try something else? Everyone went, you know what? Yeah, let's do it. So that was very exciting. So for those of you at home, once I got these writers together, one of the first things I did was sent them a questionnaire. And because I fancied myself a junior scientist, I was going to document the process, everybody's process over the course of these 4 weeks to find out, you know, I didn't want us to kid ourselves because I could see, you know, in a sort of a collegial atmosphere, sometimes it's going, no, it's going good, I'm doing great. And so I wanted there to be at least a sort of an attempt to be objective at this, because the other thing is I didn't want to fool myself in terms of what I could expect that hypnosis might do for me, or what I might be able to offer somebody if they said, hey, listen, I'm having a problem. Do you think this is something that I could help with? So we had that. And so in that, everybody put out a couple of things. The most important things to me were, one, what their goal was with the thing that they were working on. I wanted to get a baseline of their productivity, of how things were now and sort of how they worked, and what their obstacles that they felt their obstacles were. There is an expression sometimes that hypnotherapists use, that the issue is never the issue. And I think that was sort of in the back of my mind, that sometimes when people go, you know, they go, well, I'm not really sure about this idea, but it really might be, it's not really a question of confidence, it's a question of commitment or something like that. So I was open that people were being as straightforward as they could be in those first questionnaires. But then as we went along, I was also committed to making these adjustments according to the feedback that I got in the questionnaire. So it was literally me asking, what do you want more of? What do you want less of? So everyone had a baseline of what they were doing at the moment, and what their goal was. And I'm going to save I'm not going to do the TLDR thing right here. But I'd like to talk about sort of like that first session for everybody. And I'm going to just go in alphabetical order this time. What happened when you were approaching that first session? What were some of your expectations? What was your experience of the hypnosis there? Because again, except for very few exceptions, none of you, or very few of you, have had experience either with hypnosis, either being hypnotized or knowing somebody that was hypnotized, or had seen something other than outside TV. So I'm curious as to what your thoughts were about going into that first session like that. And going in alphabetically on here, we'll begin with Dave Stewart. Tell me about the first session.
Yeah, for me, it was really like a meet and greet. So it was, because I'm the kind of person who sits and go, what am I feeling now? What am I feeling now? What's Dave doing? It was really about figuring out what the feeling of being hypnotized in this context was like. So really it was the main thing that I took away from the first thing was, this is what I feel like, and this is what I should expect for the rest of it. So it was really important for me in terms of acclimatizing to the rest of the process. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's
So-
interesting. Sorry, go ahead.
No, really, that's what it was for me. So whatever work we did there, I was so interested or aware of what I was feeling, or what being hypnotized feels like, that was the main thing that I came away from session one was, and I approached it with the feeling, I'm going to go for this and I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to fight it, because I think that's what you have to do if you want it to be successful, right? So for me, it was acclimatizing, and that was really key to anything else that would come later.
I have to say, just because Dave, as far as all the writers that are here, Dave is the one I knew the best, the most, and he was definitely the one I was most nervous. I was nervous with everybody just because there's that sort of, expression. Well, anyways, it's just the more you know somebody, I don't know how the efficacy of the hypnosis goes. So I was very nervous about interacting with folks in that way. So there are folks that I know to varying degrees. And so I was nervous about that. And so I was very aware of your session of being someone who was trying to lead you through a hypnosis experience. Okay.
So we were hyper aware of each other.
That's right.
Okay.
Jessica, can you tell me about your first session, our first session together?
Well, I had never been hypnotized, so I probably, like a lot of us, didn't really know what to expect. But same as Dave, I just said, you know what, I'm going to go into it like with just being completely open and just, allow whatever happens to happen. And I found it was an amazing experience. Like, I had a really great moment where I felt a lot of restrictions and obstacles just gone. It was fantastic. It was really calming. It was really relaxing. Like, I just thought, how have I been missing this the whole time? It was really great for me. Yeah. So, and the other benefit is now whenever I hear, Dave, your voice, I automatically just get very calm. So I just love it. Yeah.
Well, it was funny because Jay, that first session with Jessica was sort of like, it was like I'd never want to play poker with Jessica, because at the end of it, I went, I don't know if that was a good session or not. With the other ones, I was going, okay, that's good, that's all right, and and at the end of the session, I felt that it went okay and good, but it wasn't until I read the results of your questionnaire that I went, oh my gosh, there was this stuff that happened, and I was not aware of it. And in one of the videos I made about the sessions, I talked about it before, because this mentor that I have has always said, just you never know that moment when a change is going to happen for a client or somebody that you're working with. It might, a lot of times it could be in what we call that pre-talk area, that talk where you're having the conversation beforehand and you say somebody, and if somebody's coming to you ready for a change, you don't know when that moment's going to happen. And so when you were saying, and I knew that moment when, and I was going, oh, I remembered that. But I didn't remark anything at that time. I didn't go, oh, right, I could see that in her change of her breath, that she was having that moment. So it was, I was really grateful to have that questionnaire there, that I went, okay, so that's, you've got to just be aware at all moments that the people that you're working with are having this experience that you're not privy to, and just keep it going. All right, Jenna, our first, oh yeah, so we had talked a little bit about the first experience there. There was a little bit of gentle doubt on your part, I think.
Healthy skepticism, I think.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I came into it extremely curious about what would happen. I'm a bit of a control freak, and I also live with anxiety. So I didn't like that I didn't know what was going to happen, and I was worried that it wasn't going to work. And then I would feel, because I'm a people pleaser, that I'd have to force it, and then that would be really awkward, and you would know that I was doing it. So I was pretty obsessed with the mechanics, like what would actually happen to my body. Would I actually sleep? Would it be like meditation? Meditation in my experience hasn't been very successful. I've never been able to really commit to it. So I had a ton of questions, and I was really anxious and nervous. But I stuck with it because my overwhelming and the reason I signed up in the first place was that I really wanted to get back to my creative self. So all of the doubt and all of that kind of worrying was less important than whether if this could work, this would be a life changer. So it's worth like taking the leap. And I think I was hypnotized within 5 seconds. Like,
it was
immediately.
Yeah, no, it was it scared me how again it's one of those things where people go I have been told in the past that you go, oh no, you can just tell by the look in their eyes and their breathing. And I had done things again with the handstand and things like that. I go, no, there was no change in breath or breathing or anything. But again, it was in a couple of seconds. I went, oh my God. It was like, it's happening. So
yeah.
So my job is
yeah.
expressing surprise at that moment. That's my biggest job.
Yeah, and I was surprised. Like there was as soon as it kind of happened, there was a tiny moment of panic. That was the other worry that I had, that I would have like a panic attack or something. And there was like a tiny moment of panic, but then the calm and the like breathing, how you were encouraging us to breathe, that helped so much. And it was that instant relaxation and calm. Yeah, that first session was incredible. And I was really happy to know how conscious I was. Like I remembered every single detail about it, which I thought was really refreshing. And yeah, coming out of it, it was like, I told Dave this, it was like akin to a mushroom trip. I really felt like all of my senses were really, really heightened. And I was like, sounds were different, and the sun was setting. And I remember like, wow, I had never really seen it like that. It was great. It was very mushroomy after.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, Teresa, you are a fan of mushrooms, and so
so this is perfect.
only in the pan-fried sense. So Teresa, tell us about your first session.
So I went in with a bit of an idea because I've had a lot of successful guided meditation before. So I really felt that I was going to relax, and I just trusted that would happen. And your voice does do that to people right away. And I totally need a recording of that voice just to keep me going. But I still had this erroneous idea, maybe from participating in different magic shows, that you were going to do something that was going to fix me, that you were going to relax me, and I was going to be open to that. Obviously, like you can't be fighting. And so that I was all ready for that. And then I was like, okay, so you're going to flip the switch, and maybe you did, but it was also just about the aha moment was not that now I'm tricked into doing stuff. It was like the scales falling off the eyes, is relaxing and just seeing things much more clearly and just letting go, just allowing me, or suggesting to me that I'm able to just let go of all the nonsense that was clouding my vision. And then it just like clouds just floated away, and I felt like I could see clearly and relax into focusing. And so it surprised me a little bit in that you prompted me, and that I felt like I did it with your guidance, as opposed to you came in and relaxed me and then waved a magic wand and fixed my broken brain.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're the ones that do all the work. And speaking of surprises, I surprised Steve by jumping the letter S. Tell us about your first session there, Steve.
I think the first session was spent waiting for my perceptions to occur, and they didn't. I was expecting to. It wasn't like I was expecting to bark like a dog or to anything like that. I didn't know if there would be a loss of time. I think it was interesting what Jenna said too, that to be conscious the entire time and to have it be closer to a guided meditation than anything was the relief of it. And I don't know, I just really respected your professionalism through it as well. I went to school with Dave. We were in the same class, and so we have always had a bit of a older white gentleman joking relationship kind of thing. And so I didn't know what I had every faith that we were going to do something, but it was immediately you were in safe hands. So it was very interesting.
That's good. I'm going to get back to that session first because in a bit, just because when I talk about some of the routine, the techniques and things that I used, I tried to treat everybody equally, but I did use some things when I felt like there was going to be some issues. I did try to use some different things, and I didn't get some of the responses that I was expecting, even when they worked well. So I'm going to cut that at the end. But now we're just going to talk about like the results. So you had those expectations, you had these experiences, and I felt that everybody's experience was generally positive. And so after the first week, I was going, okay, so that's nice. Like it felt like everybody was like into play, and that they were going, yeah, I'm going to give this a shot. Let's see. And then I sent out the questionnaires, sort of like I tried to set them out a couple of days before the next our next appointment, our session 2. And in that, I guess, however nice that first experience was, which is great, I was curious as to the effect it was going to have on the work in a practical sense, and the difference that it would make in the daily work habits and life habits. And again, I was sort of like relieved, and felt really practical that not everybody had the same and not had the same results. So I'm going to go here again. We'll start with you, Jessica. What was your after that first week, how did that go for you?
I found it was great. It felt like somebody took the leash off, and I could just work freely without getting whipped all the time by that internal editor voice that I think we've talked about. Probably a lot of us deal with that one. So it was really enjoyable as well, because I was able to just do the work that I love to do without, constantly having to criticize and, tear it apart. Like, so I was getting a lot done, and I was also just really enjoying it. So it was, for me, we could have just done that and I would have been happy. That was amazing to me. So yeah, first session for me was big thumbs up.
Yeah, and you had a result in the productivity. Again, that was the other thing when I got your questionnaire back. I went, whoa, that it was obvious that it had an effect on the productivity, and I was going, well, that's great.
Oh, and that's something to add too, is it felt almost like, when you have something that you meant to do and it's just sort of in the back of your mind, oh yeah, I've got to do that. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've got to do that. That's what it felt like, was like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go get those pages done. Like, oh, right. I've got to go get those pages done. And it wasn't annoying or anything, but it was constantly there, constantly reminding me. I was like, this is great. Yeah.
That's fun how that works. And now I'm going to go from Jessica, and then I'm going to go to Steve, because Steve, your first week, it wasn't the fairy tale reaction. Is that right?
I'm trying to remember. I mean, I think the most valuable thing that you said to me for the entire 4 weeks was, this is not a magic bullet. I'm not going to snap my fingers and you're going to just vomit out brilliance for the rest of your days. What I'm doing is I am setting up a groundwork and giving you tools to learn how to work. And these are just other steps to in the writing process. So yeah, I think it was a slower burn for me. I also think that I was in a bit of a different position, in that the main thing I was doing was editing and really going through a clean fifth draft of something, versus coming up with original material, which was this other thing that I kept wanting to do. Like Teresa said, it was was the dessert portion of things. But yeah, I can't remember who said it, but I wanted the results to be more magical for you, I think, Dave. but I was so appreciative of what you said, which is what I just said, that this is not a magic bullet. We're laying the groundwork for this kind of stuff. So yeah, I feel like it was a bit of a slow burn. I don't feel like it was ever a negative thing, and and there was certainly never a going backwards in the process. So yeah.
No, but it was also, I just remember at some point we had I can't remember which of their sessions, which it was, where again, I wasn't expecting any sort of sort of miracle option, but at the same time I was going, maybe would you rather not work on this? Is this something, and that you were going, well, it's not the favorite thing I have, but it does matter, and I just want to be more motivated to do it. And it's interesting, just the thing that was fun about the way we worked together, Steve, was that we were both going, okay, great. So this is a problem that we had, and we said, okay, so this week, let's just try to see how it can be more interesting or more exciting for you, or how to do those. And that will lead us to the next section in a little bit, of some of those tools that we tried about triggering those sorts of things. In the meantime, Teresa, how was your first week? Or the results then?
With the results, it was a lot like what Jessica said. It was that it was always with me. It was just always with me in this really pleasant way. And if it wasn't done yet, I wasn't anxious about it, but I was like, you know what, something else will have to wait, because I just need to do this. And it just felt like a little refuge to sit down and get this done. And it was enjoyable, and it was mine. And it just felt like doing something really good for me every day. And just even getting those pages done, whether it was those pages or more pages, relief sounds too strong, but it was sort of something in that vein.
Oh, that's good. No, that's nice. And it was fun. We had there was that amazing moment that we were going through one of the sessions, and how your dog sort of came in and sort of like checking in on you. Everything good? Everything good?
Yeah, it's true. Yes. Yeah, he's just home after a couple of days away, so he's just passed out here beside me. So, but he also seemed to just relax into it. He checked in and then he blissed out. So he knew you were being good to his mom.
Nice. Jenna, how about you? How did that first week go?
Yeah, I had a similar experience where the ideas were just always there and present, and it felt like I needed to just slam through the rest of the things on my to-do list so I could get down to the work, because it was just like constantly there. And again, that wasn't something that I remember happening in a very long time. It always felt like pulling teeth to get the ideas flowing and brainstorming and writing. So that first week was a pretty overwhelming sense, like, oh, I love this feeling. I love that it's there. And it wasn't an anxious, like a chore or a obligation, which is nice.
Nice. Now, Dave, your first week, from what I remember, wasn't like you had other things going on. Is that
yeah. When you're a member of the arts community in a small province and there's a drama or two going on, it can take a lot of your energy. So yeah, that was going on. But I will say this, Dave, and to echo what a lot of people have said, is it really did feel like a brain massage at the end of the first thing. Like I did feel like a really good massage. I was relaxed that way. And I did have the confidence that I could go forward and do what I set out to do. And those things are really crucial. I will say, like, I don't think this process can make you a writer or can make you a good writer, but it can make you write, which, I think is the key thing, And what it did for me is, so I want to do a feature script. I am doing it as a short story first, but what it made me do, and this is key, like it was very crucial for me, is it made me look at my story an entirely different way, where for a change, I focused on the characters and establishing the characters and their relationship before I got into the action. So in the past, I had been just like jumping right to the action, and it was like with these two X and Y, but now all of a sudden they've got personality and meaning to each other and to themselves. So approaching it, which was a direct result of our first session, like it was a eureka moment. It brought me into the story and the whole project in an entirely different way that wouldn't have happened if we hadn't have done this. So that was major.
Cool. And it is interesting. It's because I don't know how many times I have put it in the videos that I made about the project, about that, what it means to be a better writer, just because, you know, there's things that you have to do in your own professional development as a writer. Like, I don't know, I don't want to take it off the table that hypnosis can, you know, increase your talent. Well, I don't think it can. I mean, maybe it can. I'm happy to explore if it's possible to hypnotize somebody to be, you know, a Tolstoy, but I don't know whether that's in the card. But I do have that belief that the only way you get to be a better writer is you have to write more, and you write more and lots, and that's the only way you get better. And so that's where I was coming from. And that if I was going to encourage people to write more, that's how you get to be better. You know, don't talk about it. Don't talk to friends about it. Just write through it. If you have a question, write it out, write it, keep writing. Okay. I'm just seeing how much time we're going through here. It's such a short time, seems like a long time, and a long time can seem like no time at all. But here we are. So, so we all had, I just want to go, just jump through before we get to people's questions. In case there are people that are watching and that have questions, we will get to them, I promise you. And if you are watching this after the fact and you have questions, you can write them in, and I'll try to keep an eye out to see if there's anything that we can answer for you folks later on. But I'd like to talk right now a bit about the greatest hits, about some of your favorite moments, either in the sessions or for your writing. Let's just go through, and this can be a free-for-all discussion. I'll set a timer for 3 or 4 minutes, just to talk about what, like, some of the favorite moments, either from the sessions or from your week following a session. And we'll begin with you, Teresa.
The writer's room, going down to that writer's room and feeling like I found home. Feeling like, there it is. This is where I belong, and this is who I am. This is how I look when I'm there. And seeing a true self and feeling right at home and feeling so comfortable and like I belong there and ready to write. That's pretty awesome.
Jay?
Well, I think it was the last session when you said, let's go up in the elevator and go up and see the muse. That nearly blew my head off. I had a great time. It was fantastic. Yeah. So I really enjoyed that one. And I'm always looking for the answers within myself, or however you want to find those ideas for your story. And so for me, I just now can refer back to that point or that place or that entity. And for me, it really works.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Jenna?
Yeah, I would agree. I really love the control room. And I just love the idea of anchoring myself too, and finding ways that not in the sessions, getting back to that place just quickly. I find myself just using it in day-to-day life now, which is really cool.
Fun. Steve?
Yeah, definitely the writer's room. All three parts of it. The writer's room, the control room, which I loved, and the elevator up to the more creative phase of it as well. It's quite a powerful fundamental shift, I found, that you can really anchor yourself and get to that place and just feel the openness to write.
Nice. Dave Stewart?
I'm going to echo what Teresa said. It wasn't the control room. It wasn't anything else. It was the room. I went in there, and when you do something creative or you do any project, and this is not why we do these things, but you do want somebody to say, like, the hope is somebody will say, oh, good job. at some point. But when I went into that room, wow, I'm getting emotional. It actually felt like that. It was somebody else's room, but I was in the middle of it, and there would be people after me, but I felt a lineage, and it was very strange and very, as you can tell, impactful, because I'm getting emotional. But I really felt like it was a place for me where other writers I had admired genre resided before me, and others would be after me. So, and every time you added a detail to it, something surprising popped into my head. Like when you said, find something surprising in the room, it was an oil portrait of me in the room. And that really surprised me. So that for me is something I will always take away from this, because really it felt like home.
Beautiful. That's so lovely. It's interesting. Just and this is where we can talk a little bit about, for the people who are interested in the hypnosis part of things. I'll just talk a little bit about some of the techniques that we used, and there, although I did adapt some well-known things that, as we're talking, as hypnotists that are listening will go, oh, I know what they were doing there. So essentially, for the most part, in the first session was using an induction, then doing what's called parts negotiation. I did I used the Jacquin time machine for some of them, and I also used Freddie Jacquin's arrow technique. I also used the famous technique, which I had read about for years and years and years, but never had occasion, and it felt too much like magic to me. I'm not missing the irony there, but I was just going, this is just too much like magic. So this sounds crazy, which is NLP's, the neuro-linguistic programming creation, which is anchoring, which is essentially using a gesture and a word and a memory or a sensation to create a sensation or put you in a state of mind. I remember the first time I tried it, I was going, this is silly. This does not make any sense. How did that do it? How would that do it? Anyways, but when I did it and I had that experience, all I wanted to do was share that experience with everybody else and going, listen, this is amazing. And so again, not you all didn't have the same anchors, but it was interesting that that it seemed like everybody had that kind of experience, like an experience with anchors, and that the fact that you kept using it, or I think most of you kept using that and continue to use it as a way to get into that kind of frame of mind. And I think it's a tool that if I was to do this again, I would create a library, and I would work on that with all the writers, just to make sure that you have those things that you want for those very particular sort of work routines. Does anybody want to speak about the anchors before I move on to the next thing? No, we're all good. Okay, good. So the anchors, the other different thing, and this is where I went with, I dealt with everybody mostly the same. I think everybody has had this experience, but there's this other thing that I used, and hypnotists may be familiar with this. I used Bob Burns' The Swan, and I used it for the first session. I was nervous with Dave and Steve, particularly at the beginning, and so I wanted to do something different with them. So it was Steve, with your first one, I don't know if you recall, but I used the Swan, which is essentially this thing. Oftentimes hypnotists need to get ideomotor response. They need to, the premise is that I'm going to communicate with your subconscious, and you're going to communicate, your subconscious is going to communicate with me using ideomotor response, just your body responding in some way. So I did it with Steve and Dave the first time, and I wasn't really worried about whether it was going to work or not, because it's an amazing technique, and it's just, there's no challenge with it at all. However, the response from both Steve and Dave on this surprised me. So Steve, can you talk a little bit about going through that very first session of ours, or do you even remember that at all?
I do. I do. I kept wondering. There was 2% of your brain going, "Am I doing this? Am I making Dave feel better to do this?" But it was really happening. It was actually. And then at one point when you said, "Now just turn and look at each other," I thought this is never going to work. And then it did. And so I was quite wowed by that whole thing.
But is it, again, I'm glad that you were, because as I was going through it, you were just watching the session. This was what was going on. So it was moving, and I'm going, oh my God, this is going to be great. He is just going to be blown away. There's not going to be any doubt in his mind that he is deep in it. His subconscious is taking over. And Steve is going like this, and it's going on. And Steve is like, and I was going, what? What
I
is
thought you were supposed to
happening?
be calm and stay like Zen. I didn't think I was supposed to be commenting on what was going on.
I mean, it's just like sometimes. Dave Stewart, I used it on you the first session too, and I recall that your hand, just because of the geography of your desk there, that your hand was, and that it could only get that way to your face.
Until my nose stopped it from proceeding. Yeah, it was really interesting. And like Steve, you go, oh, should I make noises or should I make comments? And I wasn't aware of that. What really struck me beyond a bird hitting my nose was that you were looking for physical reactions to things. And both during our first 2 sessions, I started choking, and my nose would not stop running. And I don't think you can discount those as,
No, absolutely.
you know what I mean? It was like me having an extreme physical reaction, but not necessarily in the way we had planned. So that really, it was the second time it happened at the same point, the second session. I went, hey, it's over here. It's over here. So, it was way beyond a swan. So
Yeah. Well, it's funny. It just and everyone else had that experience as well. But the other thing that's interesting is part of my work and study as a hypnotherapist is trying to become a better subject, so that because I never thought I was going to, and when I never had those amazing, when I see some people and they have those amazing moments of like, I see this thing, and I go, I didn't have that. But the idea was that the more you do it, the more you practice, and that it like part of you, like if you have a good hypnotist, I think that part of that helps for sure. But is really knowing that it's something that you could do. But where I was headed was, if I didn't practice as a subject, I wouldn't know. For example, that swallowing thing that you were experiencing, that was something that I was going, it was the same thing that I was sort of like practicing my parts of negotiation, and I was trying to get that, but my fingers weren't wiggling, but my throat, I was going, yeah. And it was like, oh, and then somebody was doing something about me and my snacking. I was having a little session the other day, and my stomach was going, and I'm going, what? Come on, seriously? You're going to be so on the nose with your subconscious signals? Anyway. All right. So we're going to, just before we get to the questions, I'm just going to just sort of wrap everybody here of going, so where are you now? Like we've done, except for Dave, you still have one more session to do. So where are the rest, where are we now in terms of what is your plan going forward? And go ahead, Steve, let's start with you.
Big thing. The plan is to still really just keep going with it. I don't know if I've fallen back in love with my musical, but we're dating again, so that's good. I have 3 new songs written, which is great. And I am pretty much done the 5th draft. So it hasn't as I say, it was by no means a magic bullet, but it just provided an invitation to do it, which everybody seems to have said that it was just with you all the time, and it wasn't do it. It was just hey, why don't you get that done? So it was it was great. It was really, really, really interesting.
Right. Jenna, what's next for
Yeah,
you?
totally. I'm gonna stick with the program and just keep with my goals, and it did exactly what I hoped it would do, which is just it kickstarted this project, and I'm just gonna keep riding the momentum. I wasn't as productive as I set out to be, but the biggest hurdle was like letting the ideas flow through me, and now the next part will be actually putting pen to paper, as I kept saying. That I just want to take that time and write. So that'll be the next step.
Great. Teresa.
So Steve was talking, I was thinking that sort of the best metaphor for me was just, that invitation was there, that I was standing in front of the door waiting to go in, and he just opened the door, and I went and sat down and started writing, and so that just, it feels great. I definitely plan to keep going. And as Jenna said, some days I didn't get the pages done, and some days I got more. Some days I did none, but it never left me, and it's always with me. And there's always not only a sense of relief, but a sense of joy and fun as I'm imbuing this, and I feel a little bit more myself as this process continues, and I hope it just snowballs. And I feel like it will. I feel like some people try to build successes, and I don't feel like I'm getting a collection of successes. I just feel like I'm relaxing into who I am and enjoying that. So thank you.
Nice. Jessica?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm perfectly consistent, but rather than, beating yourself up or whatever, you just say, yeah, just get it the next day or whatever that might be. And it's more enjoyable. It's not about, whipping yourself. And it's like, some people have mentioned a feeling of just being home, and that's how it is. You're just in a comforting practice that you're, hoping to do more consistently. And it's just been enjoyable. So you want to do it rather than it being like, oh, geez, that's got to get done. You're excited because, it's a good place that you're safe and you get to do what you enjoy to do. So
Great. Dave Stewart, any things that you want to add?
Oh, the short story is underway. It will get finished, and then it will get adapted. What happens with it after that is a whole other battle. But like everybody said, it's just like, the negative part of the process seems gone to me. It's not, I'm not saying this has to be the great idea or anything like that. I'm saying this is my idea and I'm going to finish it. And as everybody has said, there's no negativity towards, it's not a negative feeling that work to be done. It's like, it is there to be done. So let's do it.
Great.
Totally different.
So with that in mind, I'm going to see if there's any questions. There may not be. I'm just going to turn this on. And then let's see here. Is there any, did we get any questions? I'm talking about to my team of thumbs back there. I don't think so. Wow, that's terrific. So that said, it just in terms of what the experience was pretty amazing for me just to work with you folks. It was pretty incredible, humbling, and it made me feel good. It made me feel like I was doing something that was helping people. And it's hard to do. And the idea of hypnotizing somebody over the internet I was just going, is that even possible? Was that so just having that idea of that there was this sort of experience to be shared over online. So I'm also, and again, most of us have had that conversation in our last session about what we're going to do next. I am going to try to arrange something so that either that there are group sessions so that we can do that sort of in a group. Anyway, some way to make it sustainable. I am a believer that it's better to write than to go to a meeting about writing. It's better to write than to have a session about writing. But that said, there is, I think that there's lots of sort of like, I'll call it work hygiene or mind hygiene, just to make that we can do to make sure that the work that we're doing is we're working in a good, positive way for ourselves and keeping ourselves open and that creativity going. So I also have, for people that are interested, I've got a Your Right Mind. I don't know. Anyways, it's on Facebook group. But again, the purpose of the group is to talk a little bit about this project and, you know, variations of the project to come. And it's also, though, not to serve as an excuse to not write. So, and I would use it to go, oh, instead of going to that Facebook group today, I'm going to write a page. I would much rather it be used that way. So that is its thing. And also for those of you who stuck around to the end, if you go to davemoseshypnosis.com and subscribe, I don't know what it is. It's a thing. If you just give me your email address, I'll put it into the email address machine, and I'm making an audio version of the room that everybody was talking about today. So I'm making an audio version of that, so that for you who are interested and, you know, can't afford a $5,000 personal one-on-one session with me, you can have this beautiful little audio book that will allow you to go into that session for yourself. Okay, last words. Just go around in the group. Last words before we say goodbye. Dave, Stewart.
Oh, God. You know what, Dave? Thanks for having me as part of this. It was very helpful. I can't. It's really something, if you're interested in, that people need to experience, because it again, it won't make you a writer, but it will make you write.
Beautiful. Steve Ross.
Yeah, I would echo that. Thank you for this. It was nothing that I expected. It was so much better than I expected, and anyone who's interested in it, I would highly recommend giving it a go.
Teresa Lemieux.
I just want to say thank you. I felt really comfortable being vulnerable with you, and I went from wanting to be a writer to knowing that I will be a writer. That this will be out. This work will be out. So thank you.
Can't wait. So excited. Jessica.
Well, yeah, just to say thank you, Dave. It was amazing to work with you. This program, I found it to be personally life-changing for me. And for any writers out there that, you know, imagine if you could write without all of that negativity and all of those obstacles just removed, and just enjoy it and produce a lot of content. I mean, why not try it?
Thank you very much, Jessica. Jenna McMillan.
Yeah, I would just echo something Teresa said earlier. Like, I didn't expect to get to know myself so much more, and just for that confidence to be restored. And it really felt like a sort of childlike curiosity that came back through this process. So like truly, truly life-changing. You know, did it as an experiment, and I'm just so grateful to you, Dave, that it became such an impactful journey.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Jenna. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you,
It was
Dave.
an amazing
Bravo.
4 weeks. I cannot wait to read and see everything everybody's working on. We'll see you again. I have a feeling we're going to see everybody again soon. So until then, thanks very much, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.
Looking forward to the reunion.
Yeah.